Hello everyone, my name is Cheryl and today we're going to be making fabric and paper beads that you can use to string onto some material or some gut, and you can make some jewelry, either bracelets or necklaces. Alright, so let's get started with the items that you'll need. You'll need a ruler, a pair of scissors, a paintbrush, a straw, candy stick, some pens, some material, preferably silk or satin material, some nice thick cardstock paper, some tacky glue, some all-purpose glue stick, glossy varnish, and some gut. Okay, so let's get started. What I recommend you do is cut out strips for your material of either your satin or your silk, 6 inches long by the ruler length, a ruler width would be great. And you need about 6 or 7 of those pieces. Now, the material is much more difficult to make than your fabric beads. So I'm going to start with that first. Let's put a little bit of glue on there, and in this particular instance you only want to use tacky glue, and the reason for that is that that's the only item that is going to hold onto your material well. Take your straw, put it down onto your material, and then start folding. You'll notice I've put glue all the way down the piece of material, and all you do is roll it nice and smoothly all the way to the bottom. Now in this particular instance we are not going to remove it from the straw, and the reason for that is we still have to put some varnish onto this material to make it more solid so that it stands up to wear and tear. Once we've done that, we want to smooth it out, get rid of all the little pieces, and we're going to make one more item so that I can show you how to do it again. So once again, some tacky glue on the edge and on the other edge. Put a piece down the middle. And roll it onto your straw. Now we're not finished with this project, we're just putting it to one side so that it can dry, because we're going to be putting some varnish onto this, and then we're going to cut it off at the end of the project so that we have our beads. Okay, so once that's done, we're going to get our varnish, and I have already dried 2 items with glue, as you can see, and we're going to paint the varnish onto the beads. Just a little bit of varnish like that is all we need, so that it makes it nice and solid, and that there is a little bit of a soft glossy effect as well. Okay, once that's done, we just close up our varnish. We take a pair of scissors. We let this dry nicely. In my case, I'm not doing that because we're running out of time. And we just cut off the straw, and we smooth off the bead nicely along the edges and puff it up again so that it looks nice and round. We do exactly the same with the next bead, and depending on how many beads you've decided to make, you're going to be doing this process throughout. Make sure that you cut off a nice smooth edge for your bead so that it looks like that. Okay, now let's put that to one side, and we're going to start with our paper beads. So what I've done is I have cut a piece of cardstock, and it's 6 inches long, and we're going to be cutting off the ruler width. So let's just measure that out again, and we're going to cut through so that we've got a nice smooth edge. Now, just a thought, you could also do the same type of thing with a triangle, as you can see from here, because it's going to make a bead that is going to be shaped slightly different. You'll notice that that's the shape of the triangle bead, and that is the shape of the straight bead as we did with our fabric. You cannot make a triangle bead out of your fabric, especially if your fabric is soft, because it just moves around too much. So let's do that. Let's do one triangle bead and one 6-inch bead. And I'll show you how to do that. Now, in this particular instance, you will just use a candy making stick, because you're going to slide this off the candy making stick. You will not be doing that with your ordinary fabric beads. In this particular case, we'll just use our ordinary Alma's glue stick. Because it's paper, it works great with that. We just want to put some glue all the way down our piece of paper. And once we have sufficient glue on there, we're going to take our candy stick and start rolling. Now, it depends entirely on how thick your paper is as to how well you'll be able to roll. But just get it started and you'll be able to smooth it out at the end with your thumb, as you can see I'm doing here. This is really nice thick paper, and it's embossed with a nice sort of shiny finish. So it should turn out very pretty. Keep on going to the end, and then you can slide it off. Put a little bit more glue at the end, and smooth it down nicely. Okay, once it's nice and smoothed down, you can just place it to one side and let it dry. Okay, so now we're going to go onto our triangle bead, and this is a little bit more difficult to put onto our little candy stick. We must try and keep the triangle in the center of the ring that we're making. So just get it started and keep on rolling, and keep the center of the triangle in line so that it'll end up in the middle of the actual bead. And once you get to the end, you can pull it off, smooth it down, get rid of all the stickiness with a sponge, smooth it out, and we've got our pretty little triangle bead. I've made another one as well over there. You see it's a thicker one. Okay, so once we've done that and we have all the amount of beads that we need, you can use a nice piece of gut, or you can use some beads, and you can string this on to the actual jewelry that you would like to make. So I'm going to use some gut in the meantime. What I've done is I've also got some very pretty ornamental beads here that you can use in between your material and fabric if you so wish. Okay, so what you can do is use ordinary gut to slide it on, or as I said, you can use it through the beads that I already have here, and you can slide it through there and string it on if you like. And what I would recommend you do is put one fabric bead, one ordinary bead, one fabric bead, one ordinary bead, and just keep on going like that until you've actually reached the goal or the size that you particularly want. Alternatively, you can just leave out these beads altogether and just make your fabric beads. Another concept that you could use is alternating your paper and using different colors of paper in between. So when you make your paper beads or your material beads, you can change up the colors, and you could cut out individual pieces and you could wrap them and alternate colors like that. Well, I hope you enjoyed this project. Get somebody to help you to actually form your jewelry if you need some help to make your knots and so on. But once you're done, you'll find it'll look very pretty. I hope you enjoyed this project. Thank you, and bye-bye.